week in racing. It's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael and Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of their shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last stunts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense. So ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic. Welcome to a special early edition of the Magic Mike Show. We're going to be looking at Oaklawn's late pick 4, which is on Friday, their opening day card. We're very excited to talk about that. Mike Somich is still traveling and on vacation right now, a well-deserved rest. But joining me right now as my battery's about to die on my computer. We're off to a great start. Aaron Halterman of the Racing Dudes. Aaron, how you doing, buddy?
Am I going to be alone on this show?
You're about to be. Hold on. There we go. All good. Nope. We got the juice. We got the juice in. We're good. We're ready to go. All right.
Welcome to the Magic Mike Show, everybody. This is what I have to deal with every time I come on this show. You asked how I'm doing. It's I'm alive.
Yeah, it's if you're not aware, there's a lot going on in the world of Oklahoma University football, of which Aaron Halterman is a mega fan. The Dudes Who Bet Sports show will be well, I'll let you talk about it because it's your show and you can explain it better.
Well, yeah, I mean, Lincoln Riley goes off to USC last night, or yesterday afternoon, I should say, and it's just been a chaotic 24 hours now, a little less than 24 hours. About 2:30 is when we found out yesterday that he's leaving. So, yeah, Dudes Who Bet Sports show. We'll have a special Lincoln Riley / coaching landscape tonight at 6 p.m. Central Time. And then tomorrow we're actually going to do another show covering what we usually do on that Monday show, but we got to do our own special one here. We'll have a lot of thoughts. If you don't know, if you never watched the show or you never heard me talk about OU, my dad and I do that show, and my dad and I have been season ticket holders for OU football for about 21 years now, maybe 22. I don't know if my math is right there, but anyway, long time. I don't think you'll have two bigger fans than us that are going to sit down and talk about this. So a lot going on, a lot of, just a lot to break down, and just a really shocking day yesterday. And I think you'll be surprised by some of our takes. We definitely have a lot of them, though.
Well, like I told you off air, I'm a big fan of you. So as your friend, I'm sad of what's going on at Oklahoma and all the drama. But as a fan of really great content, I'm very excited for tonight's show.
Well, when you think about the Dudes Who Bet Sports show on Wednesday of last week, we did it. We didn't do Thursday, normal show. We did Wednesday because of Thanksgiving. We had probably the most entertaining show we've ever had. We had Dennis on there, and my dad was saying all kinds of crazy shit and just hysterical stuff. This will be better tonight, I think, and it's going to be a really good show. I can't wait for it. I've been meaning or wanting to vent for a while now, and so that's going to be really good to watch for sure.
Yeah, you almost had to do an emergency podcast or live stream last night. The takes were that hot; they were boiling over.
Younger me would have definitely been on right after the news, but I thought, as a responsible adult, I don't think anybody's ever described me as that, but as a responsible adult, I really wanted to get some facts about what was going on before I went on the air. Not that what I say would even matter, but I just felt like, I owe it that much. So I got a lot of hearsay, some facts, some, sources, whatever. So we'll kind of break that all down tonight on that show.
Somebody should warn Jared because Aaron is officially the responsible adult on this show, and that's never good for the Racing Dudes when that happens. Somebody alert him right now. JD in the chat says, "How did you not find a USC hat to wear today?"
Yeah.
I do want to keep my job. I like my job. I enjoy my job. So that's what.
It's funny. You're looking at the most realistic fan there is when it comes to OU. You just are like. You're not gonna like JD says his dad went to Oklahoma State. I mean, a lot of people would just, I hate JD and his dad, but I'm not. I'm just not that way. I'm just not. And you could wear a USC hat, you could wear a Texas hat, whatever. I wouldn't care. I would hate that you were doing it, but I wouldn't judge you personally on it.
Well, also, if you remember the last time that I came on here and tried to troll my co-host when it was regarding football, and I don't follow football like I used to, I got it wrong. Like, I came on trying to wear a Jared Goff jersey to make fun of Mike for missing a bet, and I didn't even read the damn article closely enough to realize that he'd actually cashed. So, yeah, my trolling days when it comes to football, they're over.
Yeah. Now, you can troll me all you want. I don't, I'm used to disappointment, when it comes to this. So it's all right. It's no big deal.
Well, today's show is going to be a little different. The Oaklawn opening day, because now they move back to December, right? That's Friday. Aaron and I were texting about that this morning. So we're going to look at that. We're going to do a preview of the Pick 4. Before we get there, it used to be the Monday show. A lot of times with Mike, we'll do a recap of the whole weekend. And there was a lot of stuff that happened, right? Thanksgiving week, we had like 15, 16 graded stakes. I just want to talk about our favorite moments from it, Aaron. And I think we're going to at least have one that's very much the same. But I'll go ahead and steal it that to me, the greatest moment was seeing 3 champion horses all go out on top on the same weekend. You never see this happen where you have Maxfield retire winning the Grade 1 Clark. You have Pink Lloyd retiring winning the Kennedy Road for the 3rd time. And then you have Contrail, who was the 2020 Japanese Triple Crown winner. He went out on top on Sunday. So really incredible experience to be able to see that. In horse racing, unless it's Breeders' Cup weekend, you never see 3 champions retire on top like that.
It's not very often, even Breeders' Cup, you see it. It just doesn't happen very often. And my dad and I kind of talked about this a little bit with Welder back, what's that been, a month or two now, where he had his last race and it was kind of a big deal and he didn't win. So a lot of times they don't win their last races. So for Maxfield to win, it was nice. It was good to see. I thought he put up a really good effort. And I thought he was able to sit a little bit close to the pace, and that was kind of the difference there. So a really nice win for him. But honestly, the one that really hit me was Pink Lloyd. And that's not a disrespect to Maxfield. But Pink Lloyd, Magic, it seems like that horse has been around for 25 years. Like, him running at Woodbine is just an automatic. And the horse this year, he hadn't been what he was, where it was Pink Lloyd's entered, that's a win. He was struggling, but to come back and win that race, and it was just that feeling of, I don't know if he's going to win, and then for him to do it, that was pretty special. So for me, the Pink Lloyd thing was really, really cool.
So right as he was, I'll back up real quick. When I first got into horse racing, it was like end of 2016, early 2017, which is right when Pink Lloyd gets started. I happened to like Woodbine because I thought the track looked cool on TV, and I loved Robert Geller. And so then that's how I got in on Pink Lloyd. And so he's literally been there every step, like as I've been in horse racing. So it's going to be very weird next year when Woodbine opens and there is no Pink Lloyd racing anymore. When he hit the far turn and he had to when he started bullying his way between horses and he pushed out the horse that's beaten him twice this year and basically was like, fuck you, I'm going to go win this one last time. I was like, oh my, I got goosebumps. I started yelling, way before the quarter pole, I'm started yelling at him. And as he's going, I'm like, come on, Pinky. And he hits the 16th pole and he got the lead and I'm starting to cry. And I'm like, doing this and I can't even make noise because I'm so excited. So I luckily my phone is just a double tap, can pull up video, and I just hit record. And so I sent it to Aaron of me just sitting here silently screaming because I couldn't. I knew you were the only person who would really understand what that felt like.
Yeah, I felt it immediately. Yeah, I knew exactly what you're trying to get at there. And you're right. It was kind of a process of okay, he's kind of in behind. Okay, he's ranging up, and I was like you. I stood straight up. I was like, he's got a shot. And then when he was getting close to the lead and he got there, I'm just screaming, just finish it. Finish the race. Please finish this off because you've made too good of an effort now to lose. Because I really just kind of expected a second, third place. Yeah, he ran okay type of thing. So, yeah, it was special. That was the only one of maybe 2 or 3 moments that I screamed for horse racing this weekend, or last weekend, I should say, and that definitely was the loudest one of the screams.
Well, speaking of screaming, let's segue a little bit into the next topic here I want to talk about, which is the jockey drama going around. You talked about it first on Blinkers Off last week, that Steve Asmussen and Ricardo Santana Jr. seems like their marriage is coming to an end here. It might be a divorce. Joel Rosario is not going to be riding full-time at Oaklawn once he ends at Churchill here. Rosario's going to pick up for Asmussen where Ricardo left off, and he's also got those Brad Cox mounts. You've got the purses, so it makes perfect sense why he'd want to go there. But Asmussen and the Santana divorce is going to make things very interesting, and there's going to be a lot of drama because, especially if he stays at Oaklawn and is now competing against Steve Asmussen horses throughout, who knows what happens with Ricardo.
It's really strange, yeah. The word is Rosario's coming here. He's gonna ride in New York this weekend, those big races, and then I believe he's gonna show up at Oaklawn. So that's why you don't see him on the card yet. Yeah, he's gonna be riding here pretty regularly. I think he is gonna move around a little bit on the big Derby weekends and stuff like that. But for the most part, he'll be at Oaklawn. And yeah, I mean, the word is he's gonna ride first call for Steve Asmussen. What that means for Ricardo is it's nothing good. Now Ricardo is on a couple of Asmussen horses here that we'll talk about a little bit later as we talk about Oaklawn, but that's not something that's expected to stick. Once Rosario gets there, he will be first call. So obviously a huge adjustment for Ricardo. He's got other connections there at Oaklawn Park, but obviously Steve Asmussen losing those horses can be a big blow for him.
I also thought it was interesting that today the news came out now from Daily Racing Forum that John Velasquez is going to be at Santa Anita full-time starting December 26th, opening day. So what's interesting about that is that he and Joel Rosario share the same agent, who, by the way, has won like something ridiculous, like almost 40 Breeders' Cup races now as a jockey agent. Incredible jockey agent, Ron Anderson. But you now have Rosario at Oaklawn, Velasquez at Santa Anita. Is this more of a case where Velasquez is kind of filling that void where Rosario was and now he's going to be at Oaklawn? Or did John Velasquez find his Derby horse? Because he does ride for Baffert a lot when he comes to California.
I would definitely look out for those Baffert horses that he's on. I think we're going to see some good ones for sure. I do think it is a little bit of, hey, we sent Rosario out there. He's dominated. Johnny B, you could go do the same. And look, I'm not going to knock California racing, but they got two really, really nice jockeys, and the rest of them, yeah, Kent's hot right now, but that's not going to stick. And
right.
Day in, day out, week after week, you got you got Pratt, and you've got Rispoli, and then there's a void, and that's why a guy like Rosario can go out there and have success, and I think Johnny V will have success too. And then you also have to look at it and say, okay, Johnny V's other option is to stay in New York and freeze his ass off, or go down to Florida and you're fighting the Ortiz brothers, you're fighting. As far as local guys, like Paco Lopez is a guy that's going to get a lot of mounts. Luis Saez, not a local guy, but a big guy that's going to get mounts. Aramillo is going to get mounts. Where does Johnny fit? And he probably has some first call for Bob Baffert there, and he's going to say, hey, I'll pick up a few more, and we'll have some fun out there. So probably a pretty good move for Velasquez.
He rides really, really well for Richard Baltus, too. That'll be something I'll be paying attention to. I remember that was a couple of years ago when he came to Del Mar. Velasquez came out twice and rode for Baltus and got 2-3 wins each time for him. So, interesting. We'll see what happens with the jockey drama. Oaklawn is going to be an unbelievable hotbed for some of the best dirt riders in the country. You got Tiago Pereira and Gio Franco, who are both very strong dirt riders in California. They're going to be joining the colony as well. So plenty of exciting things happening at Oaklawn. And before we get into the Oaklawn Pick 4, Aaron, one last thing I want from you. If you're playing Oaklawn for the first time, you're not really sure what's going on other than there's no turf course. So what are some of your best betting tips for someone who might be new to Oaklawn?
Well, early speed and 1 mile races is the biggest one at Oaklawn. I don't think it's really a secret to anybody that plays it, on a regular basis. But for those of you that maybe don't play it very much, maybe only play it, say, during the big days, but now it's like, oh, they're running in December and it's kind of light, I'm going to jump in here. At Oaklawn, the 1 mile races begin and end at the 16th pole. So naturally, the stretch is much shorter for those 1 mile races. Early speed in those, that's got to be the biggest one. As far as anything else, the track, how it plays is completely weather dependent. If it's fast, usually it plays fair or tends to lean towards horses with speed. If you get that weather and the track gets heavy, muddy, sloppy, horses closing on the outside portion of the track usually is what you want. So keep that in mind. Closers, when it's sloppy, muddy, heavy, outside of the track, that's usually how you win races there. And if the track is fast, usually you want to be closer to the front.
It's going to be interesting because I looked at the weather report and they're expecting rain Saturday in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So If that ends up moving back to Friday by a day, which we know how quickly that weather changes here, and it's not Florida, but it's kind of close with how quickly the weather changes there.
They have a hard time predicting moisture at Oaklawn. Usually they get the temperature right, but sometimes they'll say rain starting at 10 o'clock and it'll be over by noon, and it just sets in that valley and it rains all day on you. It's always kind of a guess there. That they have a lot of times they have a hard time predicting the weather, but Terry Wallace used to say Oaklawn Park where the sun always shines. It's not true at all, but I like the line, and let's just hope we get sunny weather for opening day at least.
Well, let's also see if we can give you some winners here. Looking at the late pick 4, let's get into it, buddy. Riders up. All right, Aaron. Oh, we're hitting there. We got to hit the wrong one. Let's take a look at the late pick for Oaklawn Park on Friday, opening day, December 3rd. We got race 6 here, a field of 9 older males going a mile on the 16th. These are starter allowance horses who have started for a tag of $10,000 or less in either of their last 2 starts. The 2 favorites are drawn outside here. You've got the 8 Jack's Advantage at 3-1, the 9 Exemplar at 5-2. One of those horses making his first start off the claim after being with Diodoro, and the other one is 0 for 12 at Oaklawn. So this is going to be fun.
What an opening. Look, I think this is a race that it seems pretty straightforward, but for one little problem. It's been 8 days since the 6 Tez and the 9 Exemplar last raced. 8 days. They raced at Churchill Downs. They were in the same race. Exemplar beats Tez by a neck. Both horses claimed, and both horses starting here for Diodoro. I used them both. I can't see a world where both of them run. And it's kind of a situation to me, if one of them scratches, I think we're going to use just the other one and might single. I remember Rob Atras on a pick for you guys talked about it a couple weeks ago. He had 2 horses entered. He scratched one, left one in, and I singled because it's like, yeah, that's a pretty good sign. I think it's going to be one of these 2. I think 6 or 9, definitely the 2 to beat here.
So I might be working with different information. I have Diodoro as the trainer for 6 and Norm Cash as the trainer for the 9.
Who was I looking at? Was Diodoro the trainer last time out?
Diodoro was the trainer of the 8 horse last time out. That might be what you were looking at.
I think that's what I was looking at. I had it broken down. So, okay, forget all that. Diodoro. Why in the world did I think he had the 9? Yeah, Norm Cash certainly has the 9 on my sheet as well there, Magic. All right, so you talk, Magic, and I'll rework my ticket real quick.
That's okay. I'm going to use the 1. I still got it on top. This is a horse that pretty much to me is lone speed threat. I don't see anyone else who's going to go try and push for the lead in this race. The 9 Exemplar's got some an early speed, but doesn't usually like to push for the lead. I still got it is not only, I think, the lone pace in this race, can handle 2 turns. This horse loves to win wire to wire. And if this horse gets that set up, I think it's going to be pretty hard for him to get caught. Now, if it ends up being a muddy track like what you were talking about, Aaron, where it's really hard for him to handle the slop and maybe he can't do it at Oaklawn. He is 0 for 7 at Oaklawn, so I've got that working against me. But he's 2 for 4 at the distance. So I think as long as he can handle whatever the track conditions are, I think at 10-1, if I'm getting lone speed, this feels like a horse that I got to use on my ticket.
I think I now know what it means to have dad brain as far as not sleeping. I haven't slept very much after the news. So yeah, my program certainly has the 9 being trained by Norm Cash, but my notes that I wrote down for the show says Diodoro trains the 9. So that's what happened there. So
that's right.
Idiot. All right. So the 6 though, 6 and 9 still I think are the 2 to beat because they have speed figures that are better than the rest of this field. As far as Diodoro opening weekend, Oaklawn Park. Geez, this is getting mad. Oaklawn Park. He usually dominates this weekend, so I think he definitely is the one to use. I thought the 7 was interesting too. Did you think about the 7 at all, Magic?
Not that closely. You're talking about the 7 Botswana for Bentley Combs. Is a couple of nice route races. The muddy race at Indiana Grand, especially if you get an off track, would probably really catch your attention. But it was very slow that day. My concern with this horse is if he 2-back if he gives himself too much to do, I don't know that he can close on it.
I don't know. I think it's interesting that the horse, like you said, first time out on the dirt in a long time was at Indiana Grand, won by 6. They were good enough to not only run back on a dirt race, but send to Churchill Downs, where you could assume you're going to face some better horses, especially from a 6'5" claimer in Indiana to a starter allowance at Churchill Downs. That's a fairly decent jump, right? And the horse was 18-1, and I can kind of see why. Almost won the thing, only got beat 3/4 of the length. I think he's got a shot here. I thought this was kind of the danger one to throw in. So I went 6, 7, 9 to start this thing off.
I'm with you on the 9. We didn't really talk about the 9 that much other than who the trainer is. For me, this horse is the second start. First of all, I like that Norm Cash claims him back, right? Norm Cash had him. Runs him, the horse, the second start, he stumbled out of the gate, so you can scratch that out. The other race, I thought he ran pretty respectably, but I also like that Cash claims him back for $10,000, and not only does that, but he runs him back protected, so he can't lose him like he did last time we lost him for $10,000. So that plus David Cabrera getting aboard for me is what sealed the deal here.
That's the big thing for the 6 and the 9, both. Claim for 10, now they're protected, and like I said, it's always a good angle to use. And the other big thing, bringing horses back within 8 to 14 days. Cash is 25% in the last year. Diodoro's 26% in the last year. So that does kind of give you a better feeling of, okay, that's going to be all right. They can come back and do this. The other thing, though, about that, you're moving from Churchill to Oaklawn. So not only are you coming back quick, you're coming back on a different track. So I can get the pause for concern if people are watching kind of are like, I'm not sure about that.
Let's move on to the next leg of the late pick 4 at Oaklawn on opening day Friday, December 3rd. Here we've got a maiden special weight, a little bit more exciting, juvenile fillies. They're going to be going 6 furlongs on the dirt. Favorite, again, drawn outside. You've got the 7 Hypersport at 2-1. The 9 Firewolves is 5-2. Much more exciting field here. Where are you going on top?
I did go with number 7 Hypersport on top here. I did go 3 deep, but the number 7 was a top choice. Ingram Mason, you may not know her, but she does pretty well at this Oaklawn meeting every year. Usually kind of feels like she's kind of pointing towards it, putting her best horses, there at Oaklawn. I thought it was a really good sign. This is a trainer that spends the winter months and into the summer months as well up in Illinois. Brought this horse down to Keeneland to run last time out. Got second, only beaten a length. Really good debut for Mason. Now moves to Oaklawn with this horse. I think this is one she kind of had circled, for this filly to run in. So I expect the 7 to show up with a really good race. But I do think the 9 Firewolves is pretty interesting here as well. First time starter for Brad Cox, Florent Giroux aboard. Workout pattern looks pretty good, Magic. Working pretty fast. Another trainer probably had this race kind of circled for this horse. So 7 and 9, 2 favorites, I know, but that's my 2 top choices here.
I ended up splitting them. I didn't want to try and use both of them here. And I went with the 9 Firewolves. A lot of it's because of her connections. You got Brad Cox, you got Florent Giroux, but I also like Practical Joke, the sire, 22% debut winners. I like that she was training somewhere else. She got to work out of the gate over this track, which I think when they're debuting it too is really key. She's got 5 older siblings who have won. 2 of them won on debut, including Tap for Luck, who you might remember was grade 2 and grade 3 placed at age 2 after winning her debut. So she's got a lot of win early potential there, a lot of class. The 7, I don't like that the 7 was 30-1 on debut, and now we're getting 2-1 on the morning line. I know Willie's a little drunk doing the morning lines right now at Oaklawn, but that seems like such a Mike Somich always said, wedding and the funeral. This feels like the funeral to me, so that's why I'm staying against the 7.
I get it. I probably like Ingram Mason better than most. I've seen her win down here with horses similar to this. So I'm willing to give her a shot there. Tell you what, one horse I use, I went 3 deep here. I went 7, 8, and 9. So I'll talk about the 8. The 8 was the last horse on the ticket here. This just kind of feels like another horse that it's like, okay, we've got a good one here, and we're going to point to Oaklawn. This Into Mischief filly, has been working out very steadily coming in to this race. Bauer, 17% in the last year with first-time starters. He hadn't debuted very many, but they usually run well. 50% of them hit the board. Martin Garcia is a jockey he likes to go to here. This kind of just feels like he may have snuck this horse in on opening day, and this is a nice filly. And I wanted to get a little bit of a price involved because I did use the two favorites, and I didn't want to go, okay, now let's go Asmussen, and then let's go Moquette. And now, you know what I mean? I wanted to get a little bit of a price involved. I think the 8 Little Mambo Magic, I think that horse is a little bit sneaky. So I'm at 7, 8, 9 here.
What's interesting about her is that her older full brother was not really much of anything. Didn't even sell for into mischief's stud fee, and yet she goes for this big price there. A big reason I love that you ended up being the fill-in for Mike today is that you know stuff like this. Like you can look at that and say, oh, I know Phil Bauer because of this. I know Ingrid Mason because of this. I look at this and all I see is the percentages, so I'm really happy that you're here. I did not use the 8, but I did use a price horse. I had the same kind of idea that you did. I wanted to go a little price hunting. I landed on the other Brad Cox for that race. Maybe the 4 Sweet Beauty, 12-1. Which is really nice. She's McLean's Music daughter, who is 18% with 2-year-old debut winners, 19% overall at 2-year-old. So we know that she's got that winnerly potential. She's the first foal out of a Malibu Moon dam who's named Keep the Magic. So I felt like that was a little bit of a sign here. Alex Conchari doesn't usually ride for Brad Cox at all, but I know that he's pretty decent when he's at the smaller tracks in the Midwest like Canterbury. So I'm okay with him riding here. The other horse I used is the 5 Roll Baby for Steve Asmussen. Faced a monster, absolute monster named Martime on debut. And by the way, Ricardo was aboard that day. Ricardo couldn't have won that race with this filly if she was the only horse in it. Like that's how bad Ricardo was. At Keeneland White, he got fired. This is a horse who's got plenty of speed. She's shown that. I like that Asmussen optionally adds Lasix here. They don't have to do that. You see half the field isn't doing it. After that first race, Asmussen saying, let's put Lasix in her. I think that's a sign that she needs it, but also could be a sign that she's going to improve. She's got one older sibling who's raced, is her full brother named Scard, who won his debut for Steve Asmussen last year when he was 2 years old and won at Oaklawn this summer. So the family likes the track, likes to win early for this barn.
Do you want another Oaklawn story? I can give you some stories on the 4 Sweet Beauty if you'd like.
I'd love it. I love Oaklawn stories. Tell me about Sweet Beauty.
So this was the 4th horse on the ticket. I played with maybe a single in the 8th race. Maybe you can convince me to do it, and I'll add this horse in. We'll see. Sweet Beauty, I thought about it for a long time. Steve Landers owns this horse. Landers this is his home track, so to speak. So you know that he wants to get a win here. Alex Conchari, I'm glad you brought him up. Oh, and Dennis, great comment here as well. I was really drunk one time walking out through the parking lot of Oaklawn after the races. I think it was after the Derby one year, and Arkansas Derby. And Kelby goes, hey, he was probably drunk too. And he goes, hey, there's Alex Conchari. Let's go talk to him. We talked to that guy for like 45 minutes. I have no idea what either one said, but what a nice guy. I walked away saying, I'm rooting for that guy. So I'm with Dennis. I'm glad Conchari's on this horse. Yeah, I kind of wanted to use, but I went too deep instead of 1 in the next leg. So I guess we can kind of talk about that, and maybe I'll circle back.
Sure. That's a great, good story about Alex Conchari. I like how it starts. Well, I was drunk one night. Okay.
Well, listen, I'm brutally honest on this show.
We appreciate that. Race 8 is the feature of Friday's opening day card at Oaklawn Park, and that is the $150,000 Advent Stakes, a 6-furlong dirt sprint for 2-year-olds. You have a filly in here, the 8 Impulsus for Lifton. Louis Quinones, who former Asmussen top jockey, is going to be riding in this race here. Aaron, well, this seems a little interesting. The favorites, all the way outside again. You got the top choice, 5-2, number 9, Kai Rama for Steve Asmussen, and I believe, hang on. Yeah, that says Ricardo Santana Jr. riding for Steve Asmussen, so we'll get into that in a second. Yeah. Just to his outside is the second choice at 3-1, 10 higher standard. Favorites apparently just drawing out in the parking lot at Oaklawn on opening day here. What the hell is going on in this race?
Well, I don't know. I thought this race looked fairly straightforward. By the way, Louis Clononia is another really, really nice guy. I met him the day that can't think of the Alternation won the Oaklawn Handicap. I was talking with Louis Quinones. We saw him gallop on the track that day, and then he went and won. So that was pretty awesome. Anyway, I thought this race was straightforward. I almost singled the 10 higher standard here, Magic. The one thing I really love to do is go back and watch replays of 2-year-olds when they're in allowance races, stakes races, in this case, a stakes race. And that's kind of how I got to Smile Happy the other day in the Kentucky Jockey Club. And I go back and I watch all these races. I'm like, he just looked like he had a little bit something different than the rest of them. It's kind of how I looked at it from Higher Standard. Only one race. It was a debut on the dirt at Churchill Downs. He just got in front and he buried this group that he faced at Churchill Downs. I kind of think he can do it again. I love that Amos gets Giroux aboard. They don't, Giroux doesn't ride for Amos often, but when he does, it's usually really, really good results if you look at the percentages. Amos has struggled at Oaklawn Park, but I think this horse is going to be ready to run. I put number 10 Higher Standard on top. I think that's the one they're going to have to come get.
My top choice is going to be the number 10 Higher Standard for trainer Tom Amos. Jockey Andrew. I love this horse here too. I'm going to try and touch on things that you didn't.
Okay.
So the debut, big effort on a wet track. Sometimes I get very worried, big figure, that the horse is going to bounce. Amos brings him back one work, 59-1 bullet at Churchill going 5 furlongs. All right, I think the horse is going to be okay. I also love the Amos, who spends all of his time at fairgrounds, loves to run all the horses as he can down in Louisiana and win the training titles. They got 2-year-old dirt sprint stakes coming up. He sends him here. The purse difference isn't that much. The competition is going to be considerably higher. I love that he says, no, we're going to Oaklawn. We're going to face those boys there. So I love that Amos brings him back so quickly doing that. I went too deep along with you. I'm not going to be convinced to single. I also really like the 6, B Sud for Dallas Stewart. Showed good speed in both starts. I like that David Cabrera is going to take them out here, but not only did this horse break his maiden in his second start, the first, second, and 8th place horses from this horse's debut, they also all won their next start. And the horse that just barely lost to B Sud by a neck, he broke his maiden next out. So this horse is facing horses that like to win a lot, and he's beaten one of them. So I think this horse is going to have a good shot here. The break is going to be pretty important because he's buried right in the middle of all these horses. But if he can get good speed and kind of get in a good position, not be stuck inside, I think B Sud could be pretty dangerous.
Well, now I know how it feels to get a horse stolen from me, like I did with the 10 for you, because the second horse on my ticket was certainly number 6, B Sud, and you stole the reasoning. Why? Listen, that maiden special weight, first of all, Dallas Stewart on debut, I'm not thrilled ever about it. The horse gets third, like you said, Trademark, who won on Stars of Tomorrow card, Saturday at Churchill Downs, and looked fantastic doing it. And like I said, the winner also came back to win as well. And then last time out, a really sharp win, I thought. Kind of got in a battle and got the job done. I think the horse can kind of sit second, third, fourth, and pounce. And I think that's the one they're going to have to hold off. I'm against Asmussen's horse here as far as a multi-race ticket. I went 6-10 trying to beat the favorite of the 9 here.
Yeah, I'm against you, the 9 very much as well. First of all, I feel like you can't use the 9 and the 10 because of their prices here, but 7 of his rivals from his maiden win have run back. The best any of them finished was third. One of them was the 1-2 favorite at Laurel and finished third. So we talked about with B Sud how many good horses were winning after he was facing. The exact opposite here. Also, why is Ricardo on this horse? I thought we have a divorce going. Is this like, was this a deal in place? Did the owner pick this? How do you handle this? Because it's going to come up again. Ricardo still riding for Asmussen.
It's really odd because he's never been on the horse to begin with. So that's really, really strange as well. No, Magic, that maiden win, Life is Great came back to win, the second place finisher.
He must have lost his most recent start then.
He did, and then he came back to win, and I think that was either last weekend or the weekend before. It was pretty recent. So you do have that going for you. So that was a positive. But yeah, in the Nashville, and I know, listen, that was a tough race that horse was in, and it was also at a mile. But yeah, he didn't have much. He didn't do much running, and Rosario was aboard there. So yeah, I don't know. I just think it's Asmussen could beat me in that spot.
It's weird that DRF doesn't have. Yeah, he won it. He won at Aqueduct 9 days ago.
Yeah,
Life is Great did. So that's weird. Okay. Anyways, we're against him, so it doesn't really matter. We're not trying to make a case for him. We're both on the 10 and the 6 here. Let's move on to the fourth and final leg. See if we do that again. Race 9 is going to end opening day Friday at Oaklawn Park. Field of 11 fillies and mares, 3 and up, going 6 furlongs. These are horses who have either haven't won $15,000 against Open Allowance Company, or they've never won 2 races lifetime. Aaron, any guesses where the favorites drew? They're all the way outside again. Flash Magic, the 11 horse, is all the way outside, 3-1 favorite. Palm Cottage, the 8 horse, 4-1. Sweet Prayers, the 9 horse, 5-1. 10 Jets again in 6-1. All the long shots, other than Codename Kate, they're all inside here. So I feel like if we want to find a price, we've got a good shot here.
Yeah, this race, it was confusing to me. This was definitely the one I had the most trouble with. I went 5 deep here, Magic, and I thought about a lot of these. I guess I'll start with Flash Magic, a horse that I don't love, but at the same time kind of fits into this race from a class standpoint and from a numbers standpoint. So I thought I had to use that one. I really like the 2 Scott Becker entries in the 5 and the 10, and I think they're interesting because they both are speed horses. So can they get out and control the pace and kind of pull a Bob Baffert and let one horse go out to the lead and the other horse be a blocker? Yeah. I could definitely see it. Both of them kind of moving up in class here. But what about the 5 Ms. Blue? I mean, this horse has won 3 races in a row in just dominant fashion. Now, 2 of them came at FanDuel, which is the old Fairmont. So that's nothing. But last time out at Hawthorne, won by 10.5. To me, it looks like this horse could be out on the lead, and the 10 is kind of the blocker. So I used both of those as well. So my top 3 there were 5, 10, and 11.
For my top picks, I'm going to go with the 10 Jets again and the 5 Ms. Blue.
Well, we're either going to be crying or cheering together. So.
Yeah. The Jets again loves the distance. 7 for 8 on the board. 5 for 8 wins. Did really well at Oaklawn last meet earlier. It's weird to say that we're in the same year, but it was last meet. Got a win, a loss by a neck, and then was third. The third came off of a layoff, and the horse is coming off a little bit of a layoff, which a little bit of a concern, but the works have been pretty strong. The barn's 28% with a positive ROI with this kind of a break. So not that worried. You also talked about the 5 Ms. Blue. Loves to win at smaller tracks. So 7 for 8 at the distance. Sometimes at these lower levels, especially the smaller tracks, horses just love, and then you move them to a bigger group, and they just keep winning because, damn it, they know how to win. And a lot of these horses, Aaron, they don't. A lot of these horses that they're facing that are shorter prices don't like to win, and that includes the 11 Flash Magic, who I took off at the last second. I took off the 11. This is Good Magic's baby sister, and if she beats me out of this, I'm gonna be really mad. But I didn't use her, and I think that she's just gonna take way too much money for a horse that I can't trust. For the connections are going through a divorce again with Ricardo and Asmussen.
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder if they've kind of smoothed that over for the time being there. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I mentioned I used 5 horses, and so we talked about 5, 10, and 11. Now, the next one was the 8. I think Palm Cottage is kind of the one. It's like you look at the past performance and say, yep, that makes sense. Brad Cox's horse didn't run very well last time out, going 7 furlongs, but 2 back going 6 furlongs against Allowance Company. Almost got the job done at Churchill Downs. Another one that makes a lot of sense here, and another one I think can sit kind of close to the pace and kind of be that first one to pounce maybe. So I thought the 8 Palm Cottage made a little bit of sense. And then the 3 Code Name Kate. That's another one just logically makes a little bit of sense here. Chris Hartman trains. This guy usually does very, very well at Oaklawn Park. Last time out at Churchill Downs at this level was second. He got beat by Sarah Harper, a horse that's pretty solid and would be the favorite here. So, 5 deep for me, 3, 5, 8, 10, 11.
I'm going to agree with you on the 8 Palm Cottage. It's an interesting one because a lot of times, I know Mike Somich especially loves to look at the purse tag for a horse when it was purchased, right? You see this is a $575,000 purchase. Look who the owner is, OXO Equine. When you see that, assume that the horse is probably worth about half or a quarter of that because that guy loves to just spend money on horses. He's building a brood band mare. So I look at that and go, I don't know if this horse is actually that strong, but is returning to a distance 6 furlongs where she's won at before, broke her maiden on debut, adding the blinkers. I like that Cox and Giroux aren't giving up on her, that she's back at Oaklawn when she could be, maybe you start designating her for a smaller track if she doesn't do well here. But I'm going to go ahead and use her. Dennis brought up the 8. I believe he's talking about Palm Cottage running against a good Romans horse twice. I believe that's this race. Might have been last one. Either way, do you know what he's talking about?
Ran against a good Romans horse twice. Now, that would be Palm Cottage, yeah.
It would be. Okay, which Romans horse is he talking about?
Let's see here. That would be
Strong Silent.
A strong silent. Last time I believe that was a Roman's horse too, Mariah. No, that was Bauer. Yeah, I don't know the other one, but yeah, Strong Silent was definitely Roman's. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, so we both use Palm Cottage. The last one that I'm going to use, I went 4 deep. I'm taking a huge swing here. What happens if Bling Machine can take Arapahoe Park form from 2020 to Oaklawn Park in the end of 2021? What if she can do that? Huge if. I understand that. Yeah, no, this horse is a speed demon. If Luis Contreras just quarter horses her to the front, nobody goes with her, and she just runs around, it's a huge if. I'm going to get every inch of that 20-1. But you know what? This late in the game on Oaklawn, when a lot of times if I'm looking good at Oaklawn in a sequence, it's usually a screwy pick I never would have made that beats me. I'm going to take this one.
I may pay you $100 if this horse wins. It's just out of my. I can't believe you used this horse. This horse is off a 500-day layoff after 2 races at Arapahoe Park. Yeah, I mean the horse.
2 races that won by over 19 lengths.
So that's the positive. The negative is the time form figures that came back from that are by far the lowest of anybody in the race, other than the 7.
Yeah, they're pretty low. But hey, the 7 is Ingrid Mason. And did you just have a whole speech about how great Ingrid Mason does at Oaklawn?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I didn't use the 7, so that doesn't help me.
I was going to say, yeah, maybe not this one for Ingram, whose best time form on the dirt this year is a 71. And it's going up against horses that are running in the hundreds and high 90s. Yeah,
it's the speed factor here. There doesn't seem to me to be there's no speed to her. I don't think that the 1 will necessarily be as fast early. If she breaks through the lead and gets that inside spot and can run away, it's a huge if. I know I'm taking a gamble, but at least I'm getting a price. She did go 47-3 at Churchill 2 works back. She's got speed.
Yeah, I mean, you look at these workouts; they are fast. So. Okay, I take it. I'm not going to give you $100.
Oh, damn it. All right. You did say you might. There was no definite. I was listening closely for that one.
Well, I just know from experience of somebody that used to make comments like that on another show we used to do, and he would lose. And so I don't want to turn into that guy. So I'm not going to say I take that back, Magic, but I would be surprised. I would be very surprised.
That's going to do it for this episode of the Magic Mike Show, at least in terms of the horse racing talk. Thanks for joining special guest Aaron Halterman to go through the late pick 4 on Friday, opening day at Oaklawn Park. It's very exciting. I know that Oaklawn Park is how you got started in horse racing. It's the first track that you loved. It's the first track you started doing tip sheets for. So if anybody knows Oaklawn, I don't say this lightly. If anybody knows Oaklawn, it's you.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I absolutely love that track. I love that it's starting in December because, December used to be kind of like it's Gulfstream, and that'll just kind of carry us until we get to Malibu Day at Santa Anita. But now to have Gulfstream and Oaklawn running every Friday, Saturday, Sunday through December, that's just an added bonus. Great track. RacingDudes.com would not be here without this track, and no doubt about that. So, yeah, it's exciting. I can't wait. A lot of the normal names are here, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, if you're watching the replay or the live stream, thanks for joining us. Give us a like or a thumbs up. I'm going to put our tickets down below, and Aaron, I was adding yours as we were going, so take a look, make sure everything looks okay. I'll go ahead and give mine out while you do that. I'm going 169 with 459 with 610 with am I hitting the right? Yeah, 3, 5, 8, 10, 11 here. I'm sorry, 4, 5, 8, 10. Let me do that over again. 169 with 459 with 610 with 4, 5, 8, 10. Aaron, please save me.
Well, listen, I got my major blunder out of the way early, and I've been sharp
Smart
since
man.
after being very embarrassed in the 6th race. Maybe the most embarrassed I've ever been. No, just kidding. Yeah, you put my ticket in absolutely right. 679 with 789 with 610 with 3, 5, 8, 10, 11. Trapping it. $45 ticket. I think this $36, $45 budget kind of we got there. I think that's about right for this. I don't expect this to pay stacks. I think it'll be a reasonable sequence, but I don't expect it to pay $50 either, Magic. I think you're looking $200 to $400 probably for this one.
Unless the 4 Bling Machine, the Colorado bred, wins the last, in which case I think I just swept the pick 4 on opening day.
I was going to say you're looking at 800 to 1,000 if Bling Machine gets the job done.
That'll be great. So thank you so much for joining. If you're just here for the Oaklawn Talk and the horse racing talk, we'll see you back on Thursday. Mike will be back, so we'll have a fun sequence to talk about then. But Aaron, before we go, I do want to at least hype up a little bit here if I can get it to work. Come on. It doesn't. Sorry, my computer just slowed way down. There we go again. There we go. RacingDudes.com/sports. This is where you can find all of the information from Papa Dude, our in-house football expert. We've got a free pick for Seattle at Washington tonight. The college football action was incredible. You can see the top 25 from the Dudes Who Bet Sports. Just very excited. But Aaron, talk to us, since I'm usually the one that promotes it on the show. You're actually here. Promote Racing Dudes Sports section.
Well, I think it's you know, if you like sports and you like betting sports, or like Papa Dude does a pretty good job of just covering it in general on these days like Mondays and Tuesdays where it's a little lighter. I think it's really a great place to go. Papa Dude puts out article after article on this thing. He really works hard on it. It's a lot of good stuff. We've covered college football all year, and that's going to continue. We also have free NHL picks, which myself, and I are doing those. So if you check those out.
Hey, look at that right there.
Yeah, every day you get the free NHL picks. Started that about 2 weeks ago, kind of just giving people some more stuff. So it's a really good resource. Definitely check it out. And, you know, if you don't want to check out the website, the podcast, Dudes Who Bet Sports, it's really been a lot of fun. We had Dennis on last week, and it was hysterical. It was so much fun. Yeah, so we do podcasts for it as well and everything else. So a lot of fun. And yeah, tonight, if you haven't ever listened, but you want to get into it tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, it's going to be amazing.
I can't wait. I'm looking over here on the NHL picks side. This is pretty great. You got Connor McDavid here on the photo. Can we just talk about Connor McDavid for 2 seconds? How unreal is this guy?
Yeah, you know, I love Magic that you are so into hockey, because I just had never really had a friend that is, and you are as well, and you can appreciate it. Yeah, Connor McDavid is incredible. He's having just a special year, and I just hope Edmonton kind of gets in the playoffs, and they will, but make a run, have this guy around, get this guy in the spotlight a little more. They've been bad for most of the times he's been there, or most of the years he's been there. But, yeah, he's having a special season. He's a lot of fun to watch.
Well, and their general manager, Kenny Holland, recently elected into the National Hockey Hall of Fame, so for building the Detroit Red Wings. So hopefully he can do. I'm with you. I'm not a huge fan of Ken Holland, but I do love Connor McDavid, and it would be a real shame if he ends up going out. Kind of like what we see with Ovechkin, right? Ovechkin for the longest time couldn't seem to do well in the playoffs, finally got his cup. So we'll see what happens. We'll see you later tonight on, as Jason so eloquently put, Dudes Who Stroke Out Because of Sports is on at 7 Eastern tonight. Don't miss it. I'll be there in the chat. Jason will be. It's a lot of fun. So please join us there. Catch the replay if you do miss it. Follow us on Twitter. He is at @racing_dudes. 90% of the tweets are coming from this guy right here. 5% from me, 5% from Jared. Those 5% are probably about the Chiefs. You can also, NHL needs a new face of sport. Yeah. We'll get into that later, Jason. You follow me on Twitter at Curtis Kalleward. Mike Somich is at Somobomb 18, number 8. We will be back on Thursday at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific to talk about a pick 4. But until then, thank you, Aaron, for joining us. We'll see you next time.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.